thank you for being there. This is Your Viewpoint, reaching you live from NTA Channel 10 Lagos. I am Rotimi Akintoye. This program is sponsored by Integrated Communication Services, and of course it's produced, it's created to provide possible solutions to societal challenges. Today we're looking at a topic that is quite interesting, and of course something that has something to do with everybody in Nigeria and even beyond Nigeria. Today we are talking about religion. We are looking at how religion has really affected us as a people, how religion can affect us, what roles should religion play in our polity, how religion can be used as a tool to unite Nigeria, to unify us as a people, to make us a better person. Ordinarily, a religion is expected to be the harbor of morality, but if you look around today, you wonder what is happening. And so we've decided to talk about this so as to see how we can profile solutions to what is happening in our society. I won't be doing this alone. I have a guest in the studio, a clergy, that's Pastor Tayo Onoleye. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rotimi. Glad to be here.
And I will say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
All right. Somebody was saying, okay, when do you stop saying Happy New Year? Is it on the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd? And what time do you think it's best to stop saying Happy New Year?
Well, I think it depends on the context and the people.
And the people, okay.
So you may still see somebody February 1st as Happy New Year.
Yes, because you haven't seen that person in that year. Thank you so much for coming. All right, today we're talking about religion, and we want to understand what religion is and what religion is not. Because most of the time, because of the misconception of a subject, a lot of people abuse, like they say, when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for being there. We're still talking about religion this afternoon, and the other time I was saying that today, a lot of persons are believed to have misconceived what religion is all about. So, you are a clergy, and that is why we brought you here, because we believe you'll be able to shed light on that. Tell us, what should we call religion? What is religion, to start with?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi. Different people will look at it from different perspectives, and, basically, when you try to get the biodata of human beings, you ask them about their religion, so different people subscribe to different religions. We have the popular ones in Nigeria, but some people will say, okay, my faith is not a religion, but whatever it is, the society looks at any system of belief as a religion. So take it that whatever system of belief you subscribe to, maybe it's traditional African religion, maybe it's Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or Buddhism, it's a religion. So from that general foundation, I would say that religion is any system of belief to which a human being subscribes in an attempt to reach God. At the center of any religious system is the God factor. Okay. So different things, there are different practices in different religions, but all religions have a deity at the center of that religion. So the common denominator in all religions, different beliefs, different practices, but there's a common denominator that runs through all of them, and that common denominator is there is a deity, a being, a supreme being at the center of that religion. So religion is any system of belief to which a human being subscribes to in an attempt to worship a supreme being.
Okay, let's look at, because the focus of this discussion is to look at how religion can be of benefit to national development. So let's look at where religion can come into national development. What can we do with religion in our polity? How can it develop us as a people? How?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi. I'm fascinated about the question because I believe if there is anything human beings give a lot of time, a lot of attention to, that thing can be converted or integrated into national development. For example, we are highly religious people. whatever religions we practice, it takes a considerate amount of our time. So if this religion or religions take a significant proportion of our time, then excuse me, there should be a way by which we can harness the focus people and attention people give to the religion into, you can harvest it into national development.
Okay.
So there are several ways religion can contribute to national development. I give you an example. Now, in our environment, we have the issue of poverty, financial challenge, material challenge. And then what's the solution? Well, religious houses or religions play roles in providing answers. People have religious beliefs and subscriptions in an attempt to find solutions to the challenges of life. So different religions have different prescriptions to the solution of financial challenge, poverty, money, and all that. And if the prescription of any religion is wrong, then the activities of the people in trying to find solutions to that thing, those activities are going to be futile. So I give an example. Okay. Somebody comes to me as being in need of house rent, for example, or children's school fees. If the only thing I tell the person is go and fast and pray, without challenging the person to engage in economic activities, to add value to the society, because money is simply a means of exchange. So if I don't teach the person to add value to other members of the society and get money in exchange for adding value, and the only thing I've told the person is to pray and fast, I've not helped that person that much. So religion can help us raise more productive people by giving people the right information on life challenges.
Are you saying the fact that a clergy or a religious leader is telling somebody that, okay, go and fast and pray, does it mean the information is incomplete?
It is, categorically.
Okay, but at the same time, you also want to agree with the fact that religion or religious society is most of the time about spirituality.
Okay.
So are we not saying that, okay, we are beginning to move from the purpose of religion to what is not part of their duty? Or what are the duties?
Okay. Well, in the true sense
of religious centers, so to speak, because most of the time the conception people have is that it's about spirituality.
Okay.
Okay, maybe they are not supposed to give money. Okay. They are not supposed to, start organizations where they need to empower people, and of course, a lot of them are doing that.
Okay.
But you would agree with me that a number of religious centers believe that, okay, it's basically about building their spiritual life.
Okay.
So, what other things
is
expected of religion,
all right,
when it comes aside spirituality?
All right, thank you, Mr. Rotimi. Now, religion is supposed to take care of the total man.
Okay.
So the religious leader is not just supposed to look at the spiritual aspect of the person, it's supposed to look at the total well-being of the person. So if I'm concerned about the total well-being of somebody who comes to me for life questions and all that, because really so many things about life come to the desk of the religious person. Challenges with family, with children, with work, with career, all those things come to our desk. So if the only thing we talk about is the spiritual dimension, we are leaving a whole lot of things unattended to. Okay. So the religious houses, religious leaders must pay attention to the well-being of the total man, the total package, not just the spiritual well-being.
Not just the spiritual well-being.
No.
But if you're talking about the totality of a man, like, the total package, just like you said, now, that will take us to a number of areas man get involved in, take, for instance, education, politics, health. Are you saying religion has something to do with all of those?
It does.
It does?
Yes, it does.
All right. Let's leave those ones and let's talk about politics now, which has to do with national development in a way. Now, what role should religion and how should religion play its own role when it comes to politics?
Okay.
How?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi. Religion should play very active roles in politics. The first and foremost being proper education of the citizens.
Okay.
Now, religious houses have ready-made audiences. Every Friday, our brothers go to the mosque. Every Sunday, our brothers go to the church. Other people go to different spiritual worship houses and all that. Okay. So we have a ready-made audience, people who listen to us. And by virtue of listening to us, they are subject to being influenced by the things we say. So if we say the wrong things, we are going to program them wrongly. So the religious leaders have a responsibility to accurately educate and inform their followers.
Accurately
Inform and educate their followers. And one crucial area of accurate education and information is this: we must have positive attitude to governance and the government. A positive attitude. For example, 2019 elections, 84 million people had voters cards. Only 29 million people out of 84 million turned out, about 35%. Why? Well, because many of them have told that whatever will be, whether you vote or not, the person that will get there will get there. But if religious leaders tell people that, look, your votes count. If you don't vote, you are giving your pie away. They will be able to mobilize more people to participate. So the first responsibility of religious leaders is to accurately inform people, tell people to have positive attitude towards government, towards their country, because a lot of people are disillusioned. A lot of people hate their country. They hate the government. Why? Because religious leaders have told them that the country is messed up, everything is upside down. So some of the information we are feeding people from religious houses are actually demoralizing people and making them to lose interest in the country. So if we are going to use religion to play an active role in politics, number one, we must focus on proper, accurately educating people, giving people the right education. Then we must use our platforms, of our religious platform, to encourage people, to inspire people to participate. So many things can be done to improve governance. One of them is protest. Protests have their way, but more powerful than protest is participation. Religious houses must encourage people to register, get their PVCs, and actually go out and vote. So those are two strong areas by which religion can play roles in national development.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. We've been talking about religion, and the focus is religion role in national development. But there could be some sort of dilemma for religious leaders when it comes to trying to balance between, especially as it concerns giving accurate information, which you talked about. Now, they have a spiritual role. They also have a role to encourage people to participate. Let's use the election, for instance. People come out with prophecies at this point. In fact, some will say, okay, you have to be careful and all of that, to avoid issues, maybe so that people can avoid what could be some sort of chaos that may come up, just to protect their people and all of that. At the same time, you want to encourage them to participate. How do you balance those two areas?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi. Very often we need to separate between the personal opinion of the religious leader and a true prophecy from God. Sometimes what we have is, sometimes the religious leader may have a challenge being able to separate between his personal preference and what God is saying. We are all political animals. We are all biased. Every religious leader has a political bias. There's somebody you prefer that if you're going to vote, there's somebody you prefer to vote for. Now, sometimes because we are human, sometimes your personal preference is converted to a prophecy. So you prefer candidate A to win. So you weaponize your opinion and convert it to a prophecy, and then you now project that prophecy on your members, and then you now say, okay, this is what God has said. Sometimes it's not God, sometimes it's your opinion. You weaponize your opinion to say, oh, this is what God has said. Now the religious person has a responsibility, first and foremost, to educate people, inform them rightly, and less of dictating to them. You are dealing with adults. Your responsibility, first and foremost, is to respect the fact that they are adults, respect their will and their choice to choose, their capacity to choose the candidate of their choice. In a way, there's a similarity between parenting and spiritual leadership. The job of a parent is not to dictate to the child, is to nurture that child. Is to nurture the child to the point of maturity. And what is maturity? Maturity is the point where the child can choose between left and right, can say this is right, this is good. As a parent, the moment you raise your child to the point where the child can say this is good, this is bad, your job is done. You have raised that child to be able to think. So a religious leader's job is to educate people, teach people on how to think, not giving them instructions or directives. So we have to tone down on giving directives to people, compelling people to vote for specific candidates, and focus more on teaching people on how to think, how to process the different options, how to go through the objectives of the parties and choose and process the whatever is happening in the country and say, go and vote your choice. So the religious leader will always have his own preference, but that preference must not be projected on the people in the name of God. The job of the religious leader is to teach people, enlighten people, inform people, and release them to go and exercise their rights without undue influence and dictatorship.
Fantastic. And is it so possible for religious leaders not to stylishly or indirectly influence their people, especially when it comes to the same faith? You know, most of the time, some religious leaders may not even mention a particular person, but they will just say, okay, don't you think you should protect your faith? You should defend your faith and all of that. What do you have to say to that?
Well, you know, like I said, every religious leader is biased. Even the religious leaders who appear to be apolitical, if you get close enough to them, you know that they have preferences that if they had their way, if they're going to vote, this is the candidate to vote for. But they may be so good at, you know, covering it and not projecting it on their members. You know, so should a religious leader tell people to vote their faith? Religion and politics are two very strong things. Both of them are emotional. So it will be very difficult for a religious leader not to project that preference on their members. But you see,
but do they have a duty to do that?
Well, they don't.
They don't.
They don't.
All right, let's go on this break. We'll be back to talk more on religion and its effect on national development. We have something for you that has to do with waste conversion. I'm sure you will learn one or two things from that. We'll be back after this break. Please go nowhere.
Recycling is the process of converting waste materials into reusable objects to prevent waste of potentially useful materials, reduce the consumption of fresh raw materials, energy usage, air pollution and water pollution by decreasing the need for conventional waste disposal and lowering greenhouse gas emissions compared to plastic production. In Nigeria, some individuals are providing an answer to this by taking waste straight from the dump, transforming it and redefining its purpose. These innovators work with different materials such as water sachets, paper, glass, textiles, scrap metals, bottles, plastic, tires and more, with many of them learning on the job how to manipulate these objects to make beauty out of ashes. These entrepreneurs ask, if you can recycle it, why waste it? Let's take a look at some Nigerians that are turning waste into wealth. Adedagunduro, a 34-year-old Nigerian, uses waste materials such as car tires, scrap metal, rope, and plastic to form works of art at his studio in Dugbe. He is surrounded by art pieces in his gallery in Dugbe at the heart of Ibadan. Adedagunduro is a graduate of fine art from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and his desire to push the boundaries of what he learned within the walls of a university spurred him to take up more training in painting and sculpture. Adejoke Lasisi, who is in her early 30s, is from a traditional middle-class weaving family in Ibadan. Age 9, she started weaving the popular Ashofi, a material made from cotton threads traditionally woven by Yoruba people. She has now perfected the art of blending weaving wool with nylon. Doing this involves a 5-step process before the sachets are transformed into attractive products such as bags, purses, slippers, mats, artwork, and more. First, Lasisi sources the nylon by picking up sachets from the streets and receiving discarded imperfect sachets from water processing plants. Now she has turned her craft into a way to relieve her home city of some of its waste burden. In Nigeria, discarded pure water sachets of drinking water from nylon are a common sight on roads and in gutters. Tunde Odunlade is a well-known artist who has exhibited his work in the US. He uses discarded fabric and rags to make batik quilt tapestries at his studio in Ibadan, Nigeria. Today he collects used clothes, which he likes to call found material as opposed to waste material, because the materials are either found by him or he says the materials find him. He now collects rags from people who otherwise would have thrown them away. In order to make a work of art, he calls this style of art batik tapestry. Recycling is a component of modern waste reduction and is the third component of the reduce, reuse, and recycle waste hierarchy.
For staying there. We've been talking about religion and its roles in national development, how it can really help unify us as a people. And I've been speaking with Pastor Tayo Onoleye. The other time before we went on break, we were talking about if it is a duty of a religious leader to tell, either directly or indirectly, who to vote for. Yes, and trying to say you're protecting the faith and all of that. But another question that comes to mind is, would you protect your faith? And if you have to do that, what is the right way to do that?
All right.
And at the same time, teach people what to do as regards doing the right thing for national development.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi. To answer that question, I'll go to the story Jesus told, you know, in the Bible, the popular story of the Good Samaritan. There was this, guy, a Jewish person, on the road, and then he was waylaid by armed robbers. He was, almost killed and all that. 3 religious people of his faith passed by. The Levite, the priest, the Levite and the priest, 2 of them passed by, and none of them helped him. The 2 of them didn't help him, So it was the Samaritan that came. The Levite and the priest passed by, they didn't help him. It was the 3rd person, somebody who was not of his faith, that helped him. Somebody that his tribe and his faith usually despised. That was the person, that helped him. So the question Jesus asked in that parable was, who is your brother? So the first thing we should ask is, which one is superior in Nigeria? My faith or my neighbor? Which one comes first? Which one comes first? My religion or my nationality as a Nigerian? First and foremost, before I became a Christian, I'm first and foremost a Nigerian. So if we are going to develop, we must begin to elevate nation above country, above religion. We must be able to elevate country above tribe, above religion. So the question is this: what is good for the nation? Is it first and foremost my tribe, my religion, or the best interest of the nation? And I'll tell you that the best interest of the nation is what should be uppermost. So in choosing a political candidate for any election, the number one thing should be country first. The country must come before my religion. My country must come before my religion, because first and foremost, I'm a Nigerian, first and foremost. And if we lose Nigeria, it will even be difficult to practice our religion. So we must elevate country above religion. Having said that, do people have the responsibility to protect their faith? Yes, they do, but it is secondary to protecting the country. Yes, you have to vote to protect your faith, but the first thing you must do is to vote to protect the country, vote to advance the country. So when you have a dilemma between choosing the person that will advance the country and choose the person that will protect your faith, choose the person that will advance the country first and foremost. Protecting your faith should be a secondary consideration. And the reason is this: whatever faith you practice, we are all experiencing fuel scarcity now. We all go to the same fuel station, we all go to the same market. Nobody will tell me that, oh, this person is a Christian, that person is a Muslim, sell lower to a Christian, sell higher to a Muslim. No, we buy it from the same market. We experience the same challenges in our environment. So the nation must be elevated above religion. If we are going to develop, religion must be secondary, country first. So in choosing who to vote for, the country must be a higher priority, a higher consideration than religion.
Okay, so what do you think has made religious leaders, some religious leaders, to successfully misinform some persons in this regard, such that they do not think of all of these things you're saying, that you should think about your nation first? Now, I'm talking about patriotism now. So how do you think some persons have been able to make their members not patriotic? Because would you say it is not patriotic when you consider your religion first? Would you say that?
I would.
You would say that?
Affirmatively.
So why do you think, or how do you think they've been able to change the minds of people? Because, of course, we all know that religion has a very strong hold on people. And of course, that is why most of the time it's used as weapons. So, what do you have to say? What do you see to that? How have they been able? I'm talking about some religious leaders. How have they been able to change the minds of people, such that they consider religion first, they consider their faith first before national development?
Thank you, Mr. Arutimi. You see, the basic instinct of life is self-preservation.
Okay.
So you wouldn't say somebody who wants to preserve himself is selfish, you know. But you see, we like I said, we must elevate country above religion. Now, part of the reason why some people focus on indoctrinating their members to vote only their faith is because they feel that voting their faith is the only way to protect their faith. And well, it's based on, you know, it's a very complex thing. We have a lot of baggage in terms of religious suspicion and distrust and mistrust in a situation where people who have held political positions have used that position to advance their own religion. Okay. It's natural for other people to grow mistrust and distrust in them that, look, if they are using the position to advance their religion, let us protect ourselves by putting our own people there to use it to advance our own religion. That's part of it. It's a self-preservative mechanism. Okay. That's part of it. The other part of it is it's a tool of control. When you weaponize tribe or religion, it's a tool of control. So a way of maintaining a strong grip on people, of controlling people, is to weaponize religion so that at every point in time they remain under your beck and call. So the more you weaponize anything, the more it gives you control over the minds of people, and not necessarily protecting the interests of the nation or even protecting their own interests as a people. When you weaponize religion, it gives you more control over people. So for some people, it's just a tool of control and not necessarily protecting the interests of the people.
And how do we identify religious leaders that try to use religion against national interest? And what should people do? How can they identify religious centers like that? Regardless of, I'm not talking about particular religious centers, generally. How do you know that? Okay, this religious center is just trying to use me against the country, using me against national interest. It's just about the religion in itself.
That's a very difficult.
What are those things you should notice?
Thank you, Mr. Rosim. It's a very difficult one. And the reason is simple. Religious leaders take care of people. So there is a bond that develops between the religious leader and the people. Most religions teach loyalty. We teach followership. We teach discipleship. We teach people to be loyal to us, to follow us, to be dedicated and devoted to our teachings, our practicing, and all that. So when a religious leader takes care of people, nourishes people, and is able to weave his political conviction into the scriptures of that religion, it becomes a very powerful tool. Such that when this person is obviously going astray, misleading people, it's difficult for the people following him to actually tell the difference. So what we must emphasize is this: people must be taught to think independently. You are following a religion, fine, but think, you are an adult, put on your thinking cap, and there must be some baseline parameters by which you assess, is this thing true? Is this thing fair? And is it in the interest of the nation? Is it in the interest of my neighbors? Everybody must know that, look, whoever the other person is, whether it's your religion or not, that person is your brother. All religions, the dominant religions we have in this country, talk about the story of Adam and Eve. So we all agree, from the dominant scriptures in this country, we all agree that we came from the same brotherhood of Adam and Eve. So if we do, flesh and blood, we are all brothers and sisters, no matter our religious differences. So any religion or any religious leader that weaponizes their faith to make you hate the other person, to make you hate the other religion, is clearly doing the wrong thing. So the moment the indoctrination is tilting towards hatred, and harming other people, it is clearly wrong. It can't be in the interest of that religion, it can't be in the interest of the people, it cannot be in the interest of the nation. So the moment the teaching is, engineering hate, inciting people to hurt other people, it is clearly a red flag and must be avoided.
It must be avoided. Okay, let's look at, because all of these things you've said would also stem from the leaders. So what do you think is the best way to have religious leaders that would work towards national development? Because if we have national development, of course, it would bear on religion as well. Of course, it will affect, because the religion we're talking about here, I think it involves people as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, to what extent do you think we can ensure that we have sane religious leaders, truthful religious leaders, that would really, really impact positively on people, such that people would, want to consider national interest as part of their daily lives?
All right, thank you, Mr. Rotimi. I think the government is like the umpire of everything in the nation. So government is like the referee, in whatever game it is. So the government has the responsibility of engineering, initiating conversations among the religious leaders. And the conversations must be that, look, whatever the religious differences, the nation must be number one. The government has to, we have that in Nigeria, where we have bodies where Christian religious leaders and Muslim religious leaders come together for conversation and all that. It must be, those conversations must be deepened and it must be widespread. And so we must have those conversations that say that, look, whatever the religious differences we have, this country comes first. Whatever religious differences we have, your fellow Nigerian is your brother and your sister. And anybody who is saying anything outside that must be called to order. So we must have those conversations and deepen those conversations, and at every level of the religious leadership. For example, in Christianity you have CAN and PFN, and PFN has different layers of leadership. At every layer of the leadership of different religious organizations, we must have those conversations that elevate country above tribe, that elevate country above any other sentiment, and put the life of other people, value the life of other people, and respect other people. So we must have this conversation. That's what will help us.
And that takes us to the functions of those associations, both the Islamic associations and all of that. Do you think they are really doing anything?
Well,
are they doing enough? Let me put it like that.
Okay, going by their previous pronouncements and actions in the past, I think they are doing well. Okay. But they need to do more. Okay. When you have, it's like we have a religious crisis in our hands, where people want to vote the faith, have deep mistrust, bitterness towards the other religion. In a situation like that, we need to take urgent, deep and wide actions. We need to broaden and deepen the conversations to elevate the country above religion. So those bodies are doing a lot. They need to do more.
In terms of, flushing out false teachers, which I think is part of the problems when it comes to, how people are being misinformed, how people are being incited to do the wrong things and all of that. What do you think the associations can do? Or do you think it's not part of their functions?
It's a difficult one.
It's a difficult one.
Very difficult. And the reason is simple.
Now, I want to believe you belong to one of the arms.
I do.
PFN, I believe.
Yes, I do.
Yes. In that regard, and of course you would have seen in a number of videos what we see around and all of that, both here and there. What do you think can be done?
All right. I say it's a difficult one because, first and foremost, every Nigerian is guaranteed the freedom of association. So you don't need to belong to any organized body, religious body, to practice your religion. So I can wake up tomorrow, gather people together and start my religion. So I don't have to be regulated. I don't have to submit to any authority.
But whatever would affect the nation as a whole. Freedom of association have limitations.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So to an extent, if it's going to affect the majority. So in that regard, what can be done?
So the way religion is practiced, all right. So the way religion is practiced in some other nation, it is regulated such that you are licensed to practice that religion. You are licensed to preach. You are licensed to. They want to be sure that you are sane. You have the sound mind. You are not going to poison public waters. So we may need an element of that. That look, each religious body must find a means of regulating its members. That for you to practice this religion, you must subscribe to this body, and whatever you are preaching must be regulated by that body. So make sure that you don't incite people. You don't preach things that will incite your members to take the lives of other people or hurt them.
You think that's very possible, and people will find that interesting?
That's why I say it's a very difficult one.
Yes,
it's a big
you
challenge.
said that at the beginning of your... Okay, we'll go on this break and we'll be back to talk more You can send your messages to the numbers showing on your screen, or you drop your messages on our comment section, on our social media pages at your_viewpoint is the handle, and we'll take some of those messages when we're back. Please go nowhere.
The Africa Cup of Nations, referred to as AFCON and sometimes as African Cup of Nations, is the main international men's association football competition in Africa. It is sanctioned by the Confederation of African Football (CAF) and was first held in 1957. Since 1968, it has been held every 2 years, switching to odd-numbered years in 2013. In the first tournament in 1957, there were only 3 participating nations: Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. South Africa was originally scheduled to join, but was disqualified due to the apartheid policies of the government then in power. Since then, the tournament has expanded greatly, making it necessary to hold a qualifying tournament. The number of participants in the final tournament reached 16 in 1998. 16 teams were to compete in 1996, but Nigeria withdrew, reducing the field to 15. And the same happened with Togo's withdrawal in 2010, and until 2017, the format had been unchanged, with the 16 teams being drawn into 4 groups of 4 teams each, with the top 2 teams of each group advancing to a knockout stage. On 20th July 2017, the African Cup of Nations was moved from January to June and expanded from 16 to 24 teams. Egypt is the most successful nation in the Cup's history, winning the tournament 7 times. 3 trophies have been awarded during the tournament's history, with Ghana and Cameroon winning the first 2 versions, after each of them won a tournament 3 times. The current trophy was first awarded in 2002. Egypt won an unprecedented 3 consecutive titles in 2006, 2008, and 2010. In 2013, the tournament format was switched to being held in odd-numbered years, so that it wouldn't interfere with the FIFA World Cup. Senegal are the tournament's current champions, having beaten Egypt on penalties in the 2021 final. The 2023 Africa Cup of Nations is scheduled to be the 34th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations, the International Men's Football Championship of Africa, organized by the Confederation of African Football (CAF). The tournament is scheduled to be hosted by Ivory Coast, the second time the country will be hosting the competition. The Confederation of African Football initially changed the dates of the tournament to June and July rather than the usual January, which first came into play in the 2019 tournament. It would have allowed the tournament not to conflict with other major tournaments, as well as allowing big-name players to play for their nations in the tournament without missing games for their European club side. On 3rd July 2022, it was confirmed that the competition will be postponed from June-July 2023 to January 2024 due to weather concerns during summer in Ivory Coast.
Religion, for that, I have my own stake. If we see ourselves first and foremost as humans, then Nigerians before religion, I think we'll solve a lot of our problem. So religion and ethnicity, they are like the major brains to Nigerian development, because a lot of people be like, oh, he's not Christian, he's not Muslim, he's not Igbo, he's not Yoruba, he's not this, he's not that, I can't do this, I can't do that. Meanwhile, first and foremost, when you go outside of this country, the first thing they ask you, are you a Nigerian? And that's what counts. Every other thing should come after that. So patriotism, be a Nigerian first before you look at religion or any other thing. Okay, me as a person, I really don't see religion as a unifying factor. I have friends that are Muslims, I have friends that are Christians, I have friends that have been there for me and they are Muslims, I have friends that have been there for me and they are Christians. So religion shouldn't play it good for some other people, but yes, you as a person, just be good, be nice, and be kind and just try and help people as much as possible, and be a Nigerian, do things for national development, do things to unite the country, and you see that you don't have to start looking at, oh, he's Hausa or he's Igbo or he's Christian or he's Muslim, and that'll be fine.
Religion, very, very important in national development. Yes, if you're a Muslim, Muslim well. If you're Christian, Christian well. If you're pagan, pagan well. Whatever religion you have, do it well, and the nation will be built. Pray for those in authority. That's what the Bible makes me. I'm a Christian. It said pray for those in authority. That's why pray for them. Whatever the devil wants to use them to do, God will thwart it and make it for our own good.
I believe in my one-on-one relationship with God. So I think that's where we are getting it wrong. People are embracing religion instead of having one-on-one relationship with God. By the time you have relationship with God, you will know what he likes and what he doesn't like. Those are the things you will uphold. But religion, what religion has taught us is that every Sunday morning I should go to church. During the week, midweek service I should go. But then me going there, does it having any impact in me? No. You know, so religion is not teaching us the relationship with God. It's just teaching us the normal routine that Sunday morning you go to church, and when it's time for Easter is coming, by February ending we should start fasting and all of that. No, I think the fear of God is the bottom line. Having the fear of God. When I have the fear of God, I don't need anybody to tell me to do the right thing. I know the right thing already, but I don't need anybody to compel me to do that. So when I have the fear of God, I will just do the right thing.
Yes, it is. It is very, very important. Well, preach the gospel. If you're a Muslim, pray to your God. If you're a Christian, pray to your God. If you are a traditional man, pray to your God. If you're a Buddhist, pray to your God. So everybody is entitled to whom they worship. Nigeria here, I'm not sure religion can unite Nigeria. I'm not sure. Because of what is going on right now. I'm not sure religion can unite Nigeria. It's only just God. It's only just God that can help.
All right, thank you so much for staying there. Of course, you just watched people on the streets saying one or two things about the topic. They just gave us what is on their mind concerning religion. And the last person was saying that he doesn't believe religion can unite Nigeria. Do you believe that?
Well, it's like religion is a two-edged sword. You know,
Okay.
If it is weaponized for control, it will definitely divide Nigeria. It will be a huge fault line. But if it is weaponized to unite the country, yes, religion can unite us. If we have leaders of the different religions talking about the brotherhood of humanity, teaching us that first and foremost, this other person is a human being, created in the image of God. First and foremost, this person is to be respected and loved. Then religion can unite us if we value people and elevate life above religion.
Okay, let's look at how people have become so corrupt, so to speak. It's not just about being in government now. You know, one can be corrupt in other areas of life, and we have a lot of religious centers. We have numbers of religious centers. What exactly do you think is happening? We have numbers of religious centers, yet we have more people that are corrupt. Why? Why is it like that?
All right. You know, participation is not a proof of transformation. So the fact that someone is participating in a religious activity doesn't mean that the substance of that religion has entered the person. So what I think we have is a lot of participation in religious activities without transformation. We have a lot of religion without the fear of God. That's what I think is going on. So transformation is not, people are not experiencing transformation, because if they do, the things we are complaining about will not be there. I mean, we have so many religious houses around, and then so many issues still around. So it means the religious houses are not making adequate impact in transforming people as expected compared to their numbers.
You know, you are a clergy. You may be able to tell us how people can find where they can be transformed.
Okay.
All right. People are looking for where to get better. In fact, some people really want to be moral. They don't know how to go about it.
Okay.
What are those things you see? And it tells you that, okay, this is a place to be.
Okay.
Without being misled.
Okay. Well, I think the focus will be on the core message.
The message.
Core message, you know, because it is a message that transforms people. It is, you know, the Bible says, I commit you to God and to the word of His grace, which is able to change you, transform you, and then give you an inheritance. So the first thing will be the message being preached, you know, in that center, and the message must be a message aimed at changing lives, aimed at transforming people, aimed at, you know, addressing the totality of the person, addressing the total well-being of the person, and not just the spiritual well-being. So if you have a place where the focus is on helping people get transformed, you know, for me as a Christian person, helping people get transformed to the image of Christ, you know, if the focus of the message is helping people to get transformed into the image of Christ from one level of glory to another, that would be a fantastic place to be. And then the message focus on transforming the person into the image of Christ, and then addressing the issues, the vital issues in the lives of the person, the issues of job, of work, of career, of finance, of personal development, and all that. So a place where the total man is considered, you know, and the focus is on the message that transforms the person into the image of Christ. That would be a good place to be.
All right. So how would you rate us now with what you see around religion in Nigeria? How would you rate our religious level? How religion has impacted us? Let's put it like that. How would you rate us?
Well, you see, I try to always encourage anyone who is making effort.
Okay.
So we are doing a lot. You know, we want to do more. So on a scale of where we are and where we can be, maybe I'll rate us 4/10.
Oh, okay, let's do it 1 to 100.
1 to 100, maybe 40%.
40%.
Yes, please. That because there's a whole lot of grounds to be covered. That we have a lot of human capital in our hands.
Okay.
And there's a whole lot of things we can do to develop the human capital in our hands. We are doing a lot. We need to do more.
If it's the change will start, this transformation will start, where should it start from?
Oh, it starts from me. It begins with me. So the change, I must be.
No, I'm not talking about the fact that you're a clergy.
Okay.
Where should it start from? From the leader, from the follower, the members, or the religious leaders, or the government?
Well,
or from whom? Where should it start from?
Okay. Well, I think we must have a multi approach, you know, multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
You know, so we can't focus on one area exclusively of the others. So we are going to look at the whole spectrum of society and beam our lights on each spectrum. So we have to be talking to the leaders, political leaders, you know, leaders in the civil society, leaders in private sector, leaders in business and all that. We need to be talking to leaders in civil service, leaders in education. We need to be talking to parents, because that's where it starts from. Then we need to talk to people as citizens that, look, you must be the change you want to see in Nigeria. That Nigeria is going to change and get better. The change begins with me. If we teach every Nigerian to hold himself responsible for contributing his own quota to making Nigeria better, shining his own light in his own corner, then we'll have done a whole lot of good. You know, but if we put all the blame on government, we wouldn't be doing the work effectively, because we are part of government. Anywhere I'm working, for example, I'm the government in that area. A part of Nigeria is under my watch. So if I do it well, Nigeria has gotten better. So if somebody comes to patronize me, I have products and services. If the person has a good experience, that person has had a good from my business or whatever, that person has had a good experience in Nigeria. If the person has a bitter and nasty experience, that person has had a bitter and nasty experience in Nigeria. So if every Nigerian is committed to making Nigeria great in his own corner, will realize that dream of transformation better, rather than putting all the work, all the blame on government. Government alone cannot transform Nigeria. Government has a huge role to play, but government alone cannot transform Nigeria. It begins with every Nigerian. Everybody must take ownership and own their space, own their corner, and make their own light shine in that corner to make Nigeria great.
Right, you have spoken like a motivator. He's a motivational speaker. All right, but then let's quickly, before we round off, let's quickly look at the schools now, the educational centers. You know, we have educational centers that are mainly for a particular religion, stemming from a particular religion. Do you think that should be encouraged? And what impact do you think it will have on national development?
Okay. Well, you see, every religion has the objective of propagating its message and multiplying its followers. So it's within the purview of each religion to, you know, establish schools that perpetuate their ideology and all that. it's not a problem at all.
Okay.
What will be a problem is if there is indoctrination to demonize other people, to demonize other religions. That will be the problem. But if you have a center where this school is a religious school, and in the place you are teaching the dignity of humanity, you are teaching respecting your neighbor, loving your neighbor, being devoted to elevating the country, then that will be a good place.
But on the other hand, educational centers propagating religion is another case.
Okay.
The other one we talked about is when religion is propagating education, using education as a tool.
Okay.
But on the other hand, when you have a school, and it looks like religion is taking over.
Okay.
What about that?
Well, it's a complex thing, because for a school to propagate religion, that school must have a strong affiliation to that religion.
Okay.
And that's when it can become weaponized. Religion can become weaponized to demonize other religions, demonize other people who don't subscribe to their own religion. That type of ideology should not be encouraged.
What's your parting shot? What do you have to say to people as we wrap up?
Nigeria is a great country. Let me tell you this statistic I came across a few days ago. To do masters in the UK, for example, on average between 11 and 13,000 pounds. The average British citizen can't pay that kind of money once. Nigerians in thousands pay that kind of money once to UK universities. There was one university that had over 600 Nigerian students that paid 13,000 pounds cash once. Most citizens of UK cannot do that. They don't have the money. So that's why they have to take student loans to further their education and all that. So if we are really, really that bad, how come we have that kind of access to money? We are not that bad. Nigeria is a great nation. What we need is better leadership. What we need is better patriotism. And one tool of engineering better leadership and better patriotism is religion. If we teach people to love country, to elevate country above religion, to love their neighbor, to treat people well, we'll be on the fast track to having a great nation.
Thank you so much. I've been speaking with Pastor Tayo Onoleye, and of course we've been talking about religion and its roles in national development. We've said a lot of things. I want to appreciate you for staying there, for being with us on the program today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
And we hope next time we invite you, you would oblige.
Thank you.
All right, this is where we wrap it up on the show this beautiful afternoon. Thank you so much. Your Viewpoint returns next week by God's grace. I am Rotimi Akintunde. Remember, in all you do, national interest should come first. Bye for now.